What if I told you this abandoned planter box is the entrance to an underground labyrinth, an actual location in my house where my cat can play his very own video game? Instead of programming with code, I will use my cat as the final boss, and I will be the player simulating what it would be like to be lower on the food chain. As a thief, I will break into my cat's world and steal a treasure from under his snoot, which of course brings us to the big problem of this adventure. My cat is not vicious. He is, in fact, an ordinary house cat. He is soft and cuddly, maybe a little bit fluffy. We are doomed. Now, if you've ever owned a cat, you've probably noticed something a bit strange about them. Take my cat Captain, for example. Yeah, I know. It's so cute. But it's not cute. Let me explain. His daily schedule is simple. At 6 a.m., I wake up and give him his breakfast. And then he sleeps until lunch. At 12 o'clock, I give him his lunch, and then he sleeps until dinner. At 9 o'clock, I give him his dinner, and you guessed it, he sleeps until morning. No, he doesn't sleep until morning. He howls from downstairs. He walks laps around my bed. He climbs onto my blanket, where every single night, I push him off onto his own little bed. His life is effortless. He sleeps all day so that he can torment me all night. This is a creature of chaos, a mastermind of manipulation. He has optimized his existence to extract maximum resources while providing nothing in return. The science agrees. But if I cannot change the cat, perhaps I can change the system. So I made a plan. A cat is awake only 8 hours a day. Video games require focus and engagement. If he plays all day, he'll sleep all night. I'm going to create a system that will take Captain's chaotic, nocturnal nature and turn him into a
model citizen.
Now, I can't just hand my cat a controller. At best, he'll just look cute next to it. At worst, that was expected. I could train Captain to use a digital interface. Something like how this ape learned to play Minecraft. Really, the team trained him to move towards colored blocks by tapping a screen, and then press a break button at the top to use a skill, which as far as training animals goes, is pretty impressive. But then there's the reality of the situation, because while it looks like the ape is playing the game, he's really just been trained to perform individual tasks. Move here, press this, get food. Is he playing Minecraft? Or is he pressing buttons for treats? And that raises an interesting question. If I build Captain an interface with buttons that he can press to move a character around a game world, would he be experiencing a game? Or would he just be a cat begging for treats? How can I make sure it's a game the cat can actually play? How can I make sure it's fun for the cat while not being just a gimmick? I craved a new perspective. You may have seen this video about a guy who built an obstacle course for squirrels. What is fascinating is the squirrel wasn't trained to do the obstacle course. It used its instincts and it figured it out on its own. This means I can design a game for cats instead of humans, and they'll already know how to play it. And then there's this fish that plays the Pokemon games. Now sure, the program just reads the fish's location and presses the button depending on where it's at. It's almost random, but if you think about it, it's kind of revolutionary. It shows that the cat doesn't need an understanding of the game to play it. It's like those hamster videos. The hamster only sees walls, tunnels, or a path, and yet to us, it moves like a hero on a grand adventure. And that is when it hit me. Why don't I just isekai a cat into a video game? And so I will craft a game, a challenge, a labyrinth so seamlessly designed that the cat shall never suspect they were playing at all. This is the perfect place to build the game world, by which I mean the only place. It's a room, technically. I won't bore you with the build too much. I started by cleaning out the room, sweeping the floor, and finally tossing out this old cat tree. Though Captain was just inside, staring. Some might think he's planning my demise, but my cat loves me. Power washing the floor was incredibly satisfying. One of those moments where you step back and think, wow, I should have done this ages ago. I went for the classic open concept design. Very modern, very vanilla. Surprisingly, this was an improvement to the structural integrity. I can't exactly have a fire hazard around the fire hazard I'm building. Yeah, okay, I get it. It's your place now. For the floor, I used a roll of vinyl matting, which in my mind really adds to the whole fantasy feel. you may have noticed something important missing from this game. Well, a lot of things missing from the game. But before we go any further, we have to design the player. Something that can go inside the world that I can control. Small, fast, can outmaneuver a predator, yet still would let me interact with objects and interact with my cat. A machine built for stealth, designed for strategy, capable of surviving in a world ruled by instinct. This one's going to be a challenge. My plan: I'm gonna build a small robotic mouse, complete with a tiny camera, which I can control from outside the labyrinth, and then I can explore the dungeon as if I were actually inside. Of course, at the time, this sounded like a brilliant idea. I had absolutely no idea what I was getting myself into. It sounds crazy, but the battery was one of the most troublesome parts of the project. It's sort of a contradiction. The battery needs to be small, because it's for a mouse, yet big, because I need 20 minutes of drive time. And because this is a video game, I can't just slap on an analog camera. That would look like this. Oh, but a digital camera. Now that's beautiful. I did have to sell a huge stack of my video games to afford it. And of course, transmitting digital footage wirelessly is actually terrible for power consumption. More power meant a bigger battery. A bigger battery meant more weight. More weight meant a stronger motor, and a stronger motor meant a bigger battery. Look at this thing. It's already practically the size of a mouse, and cats aren't gonna just chase after anything. It has to be small. I can't just glue wheels on this thing and drive it around. Not gonna work. Not gonna work. The average house cat can run 23 miles per hour. That's not even the Usain Bolt of cats. It's just a regular house cat. Now, getting a tiny robot to go 23 miles per hour isn't actually the issue. The problem is scale. If you shrink a car to half its size, it still moves at the same absolute speed. Our brains don't interpret speed by numbers. A lot of it has to do with perspective. The camera in this car is 55 inches off the ground, about the viewing height of your average vehicle. Right now it's moving at 23 miles per hour. Now watch what happens when we lower the camera closer to the ground, while maintaining the exact same speed. It feels faster. It's why if you switch from a smaller vehicle to an SUV or truck, you might find yourself accidentally speeding. But we aren't just lowering the camera. We're shrinking the entire world to 1/24th scale. A mouse can run 8 miles per hour, but thanks to perspective, the perceived speed of the mouse car at 8 miles per hour would be like driving a real car 248 miles per hour. And at 23 miles per hour, that would be like driving a real car 713 miles per hour. Of course, when I say perceived speed, it was my attempt to calculate a psychological illusion. It's not going to hold up to a peer review. But the simulation did show that even at 8 miles an hour, I'm not going to be able to control the car. I would need a crazy high reaction speed, like 1/10 of a second. I decided to test out my reaction speed. The idea here is I wait for the screen to turn green, and then I click as fast as I can. Well, so far, not a pro gamer. Under 200 milliseconds. That's still not a pro gamer. 229 milliseconds on average. Is it great? No. But even for the fastest pro gamer in the world, who have reaction time down to 1/10 of a second, they would struggle to control something moving this fast. When you shrink down, the entire world gets bigger. This tiny pebble, now it's a boulder. I needed to build a car that takes into consideration the scale. Captain suggested that food would fix all of my problems. It didn't help, obviously. Improving the car's handling was probably a better place to start. First, I added this tiny differential axle. This lets the wheels move at different speeds while turning, which should make the car more stable. I also added some rather primitive suspension by printing the front knuckles and center out of flexible filament. Now, technically, this probably reduces the handling, but I'm hoping it'll give me a little bit more stability over rough terrain. Maybe not. The real secret? A gyro. Most people know these from drones, where they keep things level in the air. But RC cars have their own version that makes subtle steering corrections, keeping the car driving straight. The time for turmoil is over. The car will obey. It has no choice. I have given it power. I have given it control. And yet, it is not enough. The creature of chaos is relentless. If I cannot outrun him, then I must find an unfair advantage. I strategically placed cameras throughout the labyrinth, They are not just for cinematic footage. They are my eyes in the shadows. They give me what no mortal should have. The view of God. Okay, well, not exactly the view of God. More like the view of a slightly outdated security system with questionable wiring. But hey, it gets the job done. To make it work, I needed a computer. I scavenged parts from old builds, slapped them together. Don't let this RTX 3080 fool you. I'm installing it into an antique motherboard. I really doubt it can handle all 8 cameras. This is where I'm gonna play the game. A friend of mine even donated this fancy looking couch. Captain, what did you do? Oh my gosh. Just kidding. Might be why I got it for free. So far, we've reduced my cat's top speed and created map hacks. There's a lot more to the labyrinth, but I thought we could save that for an in-game playthrough. But for the mousecar, all we've done is improve the stability. There's still a lot more to figure out. I ordered microcontrollers, motor drivers, voltage converters, heat inserts, a PS5 controller to operate the mousecar. And look, the controller totally came with an unrelated PS5. Listen. I waited 3 years for the scalping prices to go down, okay? I can't exactly wait for my grandma to send me one for Christmas. Why am I explaining myself to a cat? I've lost it. At my skill level, there was nothing I could do about the size of the car. The digital camera alone basically determined its final dimensions. Here's the design I went with. I'm not sure what the official method is, but I designed all the components in 3D first, and then I moved those components around until it was as small as possible. Then I filled in around the components to create the frame and the steering. You may have noticed this cylindrical object at the front of the car. I thought it would be cool if I could do more than just drive around in the game. You could consider it the A button on my controller, which turns on and off this electromagnet on the front. That way I can interact with objects or grab things inside of the game. Sometimes you just have to dive into something with no experience, and the electrical was exactly that for me. I put together this somewhat crazy diagram after weeks of research, and then after benching it, I installed it in the car. And somehow, it worked. Every equation checked, every system primed. The machine was ready. It was beautiful. Nice, smooth acceleration, sharp turns, snappy takeoff. It was small, everything I had envisioned, and then it wasn't. And it's dead. Fantastic. A malfunction? Or was it sabotage? After weeks of troubleshooting, a single thread held the fate of this mission in its grasp. Yeah. So it was a solder joint on the switch, connected by a thread. Just enough to power the microcontroller, but not enough to power the motor. Seriously, a solder joint. And then when I got that fixed, it couldn't go up the ramp. After weeks of troubleshooting, I had to make a decision. So it doesn't look like much, but I tore out like a month worth of work and research. My custom microcontroller setup, pages of coding, gone. Replaced with RC car parts. And it worked. There are a few types of brushless motors, mainly censored and uncensored. Censored motors are awesome because they provide super smooth acceleration, especially at low speeds. Perfect for that reliable, smooth ride. Why am I telling you this? Because I installed the wrong one. So it can't drive slow, only fast. If I don't fix this, the footage is gonna look jerky and choppy. But that would mean remodeling the car again. I don't want to remodel the car again. In my endeavor to get out of doing just that, I discovered a speed control with back EMF sensing. It's a bit technical, but this is what it does. I went ahead and installed it into the car. In theory, I have crafted the perfect system. The mouse will maneuver through the labyrinth. The cat will give chase. The battle will unfold. But already, I sense resistance. He does not react as expected. He does not play by the rules. That is what makes him dangerous. Once again, this is my cat, Captain. Ever since we picked him up at the shelter 10 years ago, he's been afraid of just about everything. To him, boxes are monsters. The fridge door, a black hole that could swallow him whole. And the mouse car, an unnatural, growling machine of terror. Helping Captain become less afraid is only part of the problem. If this is gonna work, Captain can't just tolerate the car, he needs to chase it, hunt it, just like if it were a real mouse. And if I can't get him to do that, we're gonna have to rethink the entire experiment. Let's let him check out a piece of the car. Sniff it, taste it if he wants. Yeah, not the reaction we need. If this were a video game, I could simply program my AI cat to attack plastic and machinery. But in the real world, if he cannot be programmed, perhaps he can be persuaded. On the back of the mousecar is a tail, and if you pull it off, it triggers a mechanism that drops food. This is Captain's win condition. If he can steal the tail off the car, he wins the round, and gets all the glorious loot hidden inside. Now hold on, I said I wanted to create something real, something more than just a cat begging for treats. Let me explain. It's believed that cats enjoy hunting for food. They often play with their catch, even after securing it, suggesting that the process is just as stimulating as the outcome. Remember the ape that played Minecraft? He learned the controls, met goals, and I could even argue he played with intent. But did he have an understanding of what he was doing? A drive to discover and problem solve within the game world? That's hard to say. In my case, the cat already knows the basics. I'm taking a natural behavior, hunting, and recreating it in a way the cat already understands. There is a bit of a learning curve. I have to get Captain to associate the mousecar as food. If it works, the food becomes secondary, and the experience becomes real. But Captain is still scared of the car. How do we actually get there? I started simple, turning the car off and flying it around with my hand. And I rewarded his bravery when he got close to the car. After just a couple sessions, he wasn't scared anymore. After a week, he was chasing it. And I rewarded him when he pawed at it. Now at this point, it seemed like I was going in the right direction. Unlike Captain. But I messed up. In my previous video, I trained my minion to attack cardboard monsters. But I accidentally taught her this very boring attack move. I called it the Sniff of Death attack. This made it way harder to teach her to fight monsters. She kept defaulting back to the easiest possible solution. But I cannot allow Captain to think the goal is simply touching the car. He must know the only path to victory is to steal the tail.
If you close your eyes, does it almost feel like nothing changed at all? And if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like you've been here before? How am I gonna be an optimist about this? How am I gonna be an optimist about this? We were caught up and lost in all of our vices. In your pose as the dust settled around us, and the walls kept tumbling down in the city that we love. Great clouds roll over the hills, bringing darkness from above. But if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like nothing changed at all? And if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like you've been here before? How am I gonna be an optimist about this? How am I gonna be an optimist about this?
Captain is chasing the car, but right now he's more like a Zelda boss. Predictable attack patterns, long pauses. What I was really hoping for was an Elden Ring boss. Unpredictable. Kills you in one hit. The first time I gave Captain steak, He grabbed it and ran into another room to eat it. He didn't just take it, he committed a heist. But today, we're taking it up a notch. This is no ordinary steak. It has been seasoned with a small amount of catnip. Will it drive him into a frenzy? Will it make him lose all self-control? It occurred to me as I watched back the footage that this is probably what he does to my food plate when I'm not looking. I don't know how I feel about that. I really thought he'd be more motivated with the steak, but it didn't help. He needed to learn to use more force, so I began training him with this unusual ritual 3 times a day. It felt like an exercise in futility, but eventually he did start to get it. The project was designed to get him moving. Captain is about 10 years old, and he doesn't play as aggressively as he used to. If the game doesn't get him moving, I'm not really sure what the next step is. This project has taken me over a year. I can't believe I'm actually saying this. Let's try out the game. Captain slowly approached the game room. It's been a few weeks since he's been in the room, and everything smelled different. New corners, new scents, suspiciously placed cardboard. It was suspicious. Captain was suspicious. But then, he found a perch with a beautiful soft blanket, and most importantly, a sunny spot, just ready for the taking. Naturally, he claimed it. He was the picture of bliss. I wonder what he is dreaming about. Oh, right, an endless supply of food and pets. But out of nowhere, a strange entity carrying a large box crept up on the sleeping captain. He slowly lowered it over the unsuspecting cat. Captain jumped up in confusion. This was not the perch or the sun. This was a new world with strange, shifting walls. He walked back and forth a couple of times and then went back to sleep for 2 hours. I waited and waited. He awoke to an unusual sound. What was that? Where am I? Probably thought the cat. Suddenly an opening. He moved towards it and looked into the abyss. What is down there? What could it be? He probably thought. The abyss stared back. He wasn't willing to take the leap. And then the world began to shift again, and the opening grew bigger. And with one dramatic leap, Captain vanished into the dark. At the bottom of the HUD, 2 small screens flicker to life. 9 motion-triggered cameras, carefully coded to detect movement, or at least they're supposed to. Then the hum of the motors. Captain heard it, and just like that, he disappeared down the ramps, into the shadows. I ran to one of the 3 entrances. Oh my gosh, he is huge. I duck out, loop around to another entrance, check the cameras, nothing. Captain's gone completely dark. A glitch in the code? The feeds aren't updating. To wander blind into the lair of the beast is not bravery, it's madness. Oh, there he is. Okay, first playthrough ever we're going in. Oh my gosh, the door turned out so cool. And as I round the corner, I notice Captain heading for the ramp. I think he's going down the ramp like right next to me. It was a false alarm, so I circle around and go deeper inside. Captain was stalking me from the upper floor, listening closely to every sound. Rumor has it that the tome of Mousedom is hidden somewhere inside this labyrinth, a lost book containing many secrets. Okay, the camera's not working, it's kind of annoying. Oh my gosh, he's right there! I panicked. I floored it. I hit everything. It was at this moment I realized what it would be like to stare down a T-Rex. I don't know where he is. Where am I? What the heck? How did he get behind me? I thought to myself, don't panic. Just calmly drive away as fast as you can. I carefully drove directly into a dead end. Please tell me he's not behind me. I think I see an opening. It's now or never. Ooh, I scared him. Well, dang. Scaring Captain is one of the things I want to avoid most in this game. Not only will it be unpleasant, but it'll undo the months of training I gave him to chase the car. I drove around and found a ramp to the upper floors. And then I got stuck. Thinking he might be behind me, I rapidly turned left and right to break free, and headed towards the other ramp to escape. I wonder if I should go back in now? Oh, crap. Well, just make your monster entrance. Was he tracking me from below? I started to make my way to the other ramp, but he wasn't putting out very much effort to chase the car. And when I got there, I sort of tumbled my way down. Captain spent most of the rest of the game lurking on the upper level. I drove around until I found the Tome of Mousedom, and I grabbed it with the electromagnet, and returned to the hideout victorious. Except the tail was missing. Oh, look at that, I lost. So he stopped chasing me because he actually got the tail off of it. Turns out, right before I tumbled back into the labyrinth, Captain swiped the tail on the upper level. Of course he did. Captain takes the first win, and I take a nice long bug report. And we had a lot of bugs. Like this giant spider web inching its way in towards the labyrinth. So there were a lot of problems, and most of them were not easy solutions. The car kept getting stuck. Top of the ramp, bottom of the ramp, steep inclines, those are particularly challenging. And then there's the cat. Captain somehow can fit through absurdly small spaces. First time it was the outdoor entrance, 5 inches round. That was surprising. But when he crawled through the 4-inch opening, I couldn't believe my eyes. Since the openings are so small, you really have to drive perfectly or you get stuck. These are issues for version 2. But I did fix one thing, the motion detection system. I added a camera calibration sequence to filter out the visual noise, and I decided to bulletproof it further by making keys 0 to 9 calibrate each camera individually. And I made it so I can adjust the sensitivity for each camera. And I was only able to build this thanks to AI. I know it gets a lot of crap, but we're talking thousands of lines of code, all outside of my skill level. Do you want to code it for me for free? Now, if only I could program the cat. His lack of energy was becoming problematic. He didn't even enter the labyrinth on day 2. He climbed to the top and fell asleep. The audacity. I started to wonder if this whole thing would even work. What if Captain is just too old? I had a beautiful outdoor cat when I was younger, and for the entirety of her 20-year lifespan, she was outside catching mice. I've remembered something about Minion. When I moved her monsters from the Colosseum to a new room, she forgot everything. So maybe that's it. Maybe I need to train Captain in the labyrinth. And for the next 2 days, that became the plan. The training helped a little, but I decided to adjust his food schedule. Okay, so I'll run you through the routine that I've been doing, and we'll try out the game, and then we'll see if my cat sleeps through the night. At 6 a.m., I give him his breakfast, except it's not his full breakfast. It's only half. But Captain doesn't notice, and he sleeps until lunch. At around 1 p.m., he starts meowing at me while I'm working at my couch desk. The hunger is building. It's 1:30 p.m. He's desperate. I start sprinting through the house, jumping over the couch, yelling nonsense. It's chaos! Seriously. And eventually, Captain starts joining in. The zoomies were contagious. I scoop him up and drop him into the labyrinth. He walks around and explores for a bit, but then he remembers. He is hungry. Starving, he probably says. He is ready. I began moving forward, and I looked for Captain on the monitors. I saw him in the far back corner of the labyrinth, so I decided to go in, nice and slow. But then he beelined in the opposite direction. He was heading straight toward me. I'm gonna toy with him a little. And that's enough. He went all the way to the right. Wow, I'm bad at going through these entrances. I didn't see him on the cameras, so I went for it. But there he was, heading straight toward me. I backed away slowly. Oh my gosh, I hit the wall. Captain, stay. What you're seeing is an evolution in Captain's strategy. I approached the left entrance, and I noticed Captain is up top. This is my chance to go for it. But I miscalculated. Okay, so he's going down the back ramp, so I should be safe for a second. Oh my gosh, he teleported. I gave the car full power, but I missed my turn. I tried to back up. How does he keep doing this? The game was over. Just like that. This is my 7th time playing the game. A lot of the footage was lost due to CPU issues, bugs, and I forgot to hit record once on probably the best take ever. I don't do the full routine every time. The minimum requirement is to wait until he lets me know himself that he is hungry, and then he becomes an entire new creature in the labyrinth. Like this earlier attempt, he knew exactly what entrance I was heading towards, seemingly before I did. And now his strategy has been shifting. If you're not looking close, you might almost miss him peeking out from behind the wall. He's been playing around with how far away he needs to stalk the entrances. I went to the Isekai entrance and Captain made his way to the back corner again. He keeps going back there because a wall fell down the last time we played, and he got to explore the outdoors. He's hoping the wall is still down. I headed towards one of the 3 safe zones in the labyrinth, and there was Captain, waiting for me. That is a safe zone! How the heck did he... This is not one of my proudest runs. Oh, I panicked. Do I have to crash into every wall? Apparently. But watching it back, it's almost like Captain wasn't even trying to get it. It's like he was toying with me. All the way up until this moment, when Captain went in for the kill. My wife decided to put salt on the wound further by toying with me while I tried to retrieve the mousecar. Ha ha. Ha. This time, Captain decides to wait for a second before he peers out from behind the wall. Imagine if he lunged at me right here. Yep, just gonna back away slowly. This is one of my better runs. I approached the middle entrance, but he was holding very still. Okay, how did he get right there? He's like right next to me. I tried to back up, but I hit again. I was stuck. Oh my gosh, he's going for it. I don't know why, but turning off the gyro actually made it easier to navigate these tight corridors. I was approaching the safe point. He's like right behind me. This is terrifying. And now I just take this turn. But will I actually get through this time? No. Captain hit his mark. He got it. I've played 7 times now, and only once, just once, have I made it to the entrance at the far side of the maze with the tail intact. Forget the Tome of Mousedom. Captain stopped me every single time. He actually became a proper Elden Ring boss. Maybe better, because Captain can learn. He started tracking me different, cutting me off, baiting me. I was having fun as well, seeing the whole project come together, the jump scares. It was a whole new way to interact with my cat. He did stop howling in the middle of the night. As soon as I started training him every day, he was good. There's actually a pretty sad story behind those howls, but the game itself affected him in a different way. Captain is less jumpy throughout the day. He eats his food without retreating into the corner with every sound, and he has been more energetic. Maybe having his own personal underground world that he can retreat to has given him some confidence. However, my sleep was not spared. Captain has evolved. So he comes into the room meowing, and he climbs onto his bed. And he's actually been getting better at climbing onto his own bed. But he started doing this intense kneading ritual every night. And it lasts for a full 10 minutes. And sometimes he comes to bed on time, and sometimes he comes to bed like an hour later. So when that happens, it's actually pretty annoying. And the world ends if you interrupt him. It's just ridiculous. Now, the game is fun, but can it be sustainable long term? I can improve my driving skills and get better, but would I actually enjoy using 20 to 30 minutes of my day, every day, playing this game? I would say no. We need more variety, new ways to play, and new systems are in development. Elevators, working doors, motion detection, maybe even vehicular simulation. Progress never comes easy. It'll be built upon failure and mistakes. New levels will rise and fall. Enemies will grow stronger. There will be power-ups, hidden triggers, robots, moving platforms, Tome of Mousedom. One day it'll be secure. And Captain, he will adapt. The question is no longer can the mousecar survive. It's what happens when it finally does. Anyways, lots of plans for version 2.0. If you have ideas for traps, puzzles, a new mousecar design, chaos, throw them in the comments. I will guaranteed read every single one. I'm pretty new to YouTube. These projects are expensive and completely self-funded. So if you've enjoyed the video, consider subscribing and we can go further together. More soon.